Okay, let's continue reading from the Risale-i Nur Collection. The book that we are reading is the Authorized Biography of Bediuzzaman Said Nursi. Bediuzzaman Said Nursi is an Islamic scholar from Turkey, and this is from Risale-i Nur Collection. The topic of today is how to resist the disasters. Since the pandemic disease, coronavirus, is very common nowadays on the news, we selected this section on this week. Let's read. In the beginning of freedom, second constitutional period, I joined Sultan Reshad's tour of Rumeli, representing the eastern provinces. This is in the year of 1911, actually, in the summer of 1911. Just after the second constitution is declared in 1908, they are having a tour in Rumeli, and Bediuzzaman Said Nursi is also joining the team. On the train, a discussion started with two friends who were educated in modern sciences. They asked me, which is stronger and more necessary, religious zeal or national zeal? I told them, as Muslims, according to our beliefs and practices, religion and nationhood are actually united. The difference is only relative, apparent, and constructed. Indeed, religion is the life and spirit of the nation. When they are viewed as being separate and different from each other, the one that takes effect over the common people and the upper class is religious zeal. Whereas the impact of national zeal is limited to only 1 out of 100. That is, with those who sacrifice their personal benefits for the nation. So these national zeal looks to do 1 out of 100 in the society. That is, with those who sacrifice their personal benefits for the nation. So if you look for the persons who sacrifice their personal benefits for the nation, it is not more than 1% actually. Therefore, it is religious zeal that must be the basis of general rights. National zeal needs to be the servant, strength, and fortress of religious zeal. In particular, as people of the East, we are not like those in the West. What governs the inside of our hearts is the sense of religion. The fact that pre-eternal destiny has sent most of the prophets in the East is a sign that it is only the sense of religion that will awaken the East and drive its progress. The era of bliss and the Tabi'in, the generation after the Prophet, Tabi'in, is definitive evidence of this. Oh, my friends, who are my classmates in this moving school called the train, and who ask me about whether religious zeal or national zeal should be given more emphasis. And oh, you, who have studied the modern sciences and are now traveling with us to the future on the train of time, I say to you as well, religious zeal and Islamic nationhood have completely fused with the Turks and the Arabs and has become inseparable. They are inseparable. Islamic zeal is a luminous chain from the divine throne, which is most strong and most firm. It is an urvetul wuska. This is a Quranic term actually. It is an urvetul wuska, the most trustworthy handhold. The most trustworthy handhold. It is an urvetul wuska that will not break and will not be undone. It is a sacred fortress that cannot be destroyed and defeated. After telling them this, those who enlightened school teachers asked me, after telling this, another question comes. What is your evidence for this? Okay, religious zeal is more significant. So what is the proof? A claim as great as this needs an equally great proof and powerful evidence. A claim as great as this needs an equally great proof and powerful evidence. What is the evidence? Suddenly the train came out from a tunnel. So they were moving on a train. The train came out from a tunnel. and we put our heads out of the window to look out. We saw that a child who was not even 6 years of age was standing right next to the railway line where the train was about to pass. I turned to my two teacher friends and said, "Do you see this child?" The child, not even 6 years of age. He provides a perfect answer to your question by way of his body language. Let this innocent child become our teacher in this moving school instead of me. See how his body language tells us the following truth. Look at how this child stands only a meter away from where this monstrous being will pass, the minute it comes out of its tunnel with a frightening charge and sounds of roar. The onslaught of that monstrous being threatens anyone before it with its thrust and shrieking noise. Although it yells out its threats, if only I catch you on my way. That innocent child remains right next to its path. With perfect freedom and extraordinary courage and heroism, he pays no attention to its threats. It belittles its threats with his mini heroism, says, "Hey train, you can't scare me with your thunderous roars." And through his resolve and strength, he is as though saying, "Hey train, you are a prisoner of a system. Your steering wheel is in the hands of the one driving you. It is beyond your limits to attack me. You cannot subdue me with your despotism. Carry on and go through your path with the permission of your commander." So, oh friends in this train and brothers who will be studying the sciences 50 years later, suppose that with all their renowned heroism, the Rustam of Iran or the Hercules of Greece traversed time and stood in the place of that child. Since there were no trains in their time, they would not have the belief that the train moves according to a system. You can see just how terrified those two heroes, Rustam and Hercules, will be, and how far they will flee when the train suddenly roars out from this tunnel and threatens them with its onslaught, with fire on its head, its breath like thunder, and with lightning in its eyes. With all the courage they are renowned to have, they will run in fear more than 1,000 meters away. So we are comparing a child not even 6 years of age to Hercules or Rustam. These are heroic guys, you know. Rustam is from the Persian Empire. Hercules is from the Greece, actually. They are very renowned heroism. We know that. And we are comparing them. So the little child with the knowledge of train and the railways, he is not afraid of that. But the Rustam or Hercules, without the knowledge of train, they will be scared of it and flee. So look, see just how much of their freedom and courage is dissolved in the face of that monstrous threat. The only solution they have is to run away. For they do not recognize it to be a submissive horse, since they do not believe in the person steering it and its orders. Instead, they imagine to be a kind of beast with 20 terrifying and rapacious beasts the size of wagons attached behind it. Oh my brothers and oh my friends, hearing these words 50 years later, what gives this child, who is not even 6 years of age, far more freedom and courage than those two heroes, and a level of fearlessness and confidence far exceeding theirs, is belief, trust, and faith, which is like a seed of reality in his heart, for he recognizes the system of the train and its driver's control over it, and its movements being under an order and that it is someone else operating it on his own account. And what terrifies the two heroes and makes their consciences prisoners to delusion is their ignorant unbelief in not recognizing the driver of the train and not believing the system in which it operates. What caused the strange fear, alarm and anxiety in those two strange heroes in the two comparisons was their lack of belief, their ignorance and their misguidance, a truth which the Risale-i Nur has demonstrated with hundreds of proofs, a couple of which have already been expressed in the beginning of this Risale. It is as follows. Unbelief and misguidance show the whole universe to the people of misguidance as being made up of a series of terrifying enemies. It shows that the hands of blind force, aimless chance, and deaf nature are attacking wretched humans with thousands of different enemies from the solar system all the way to the tubercular bacteria in its body. So looking at the solar system, they get frustrated. Looking at the tubercular bacteria, again, they are frustrated. So nowadays, we have coronavirus. They are frustrated because of the unbelief. By pushing constant fear, pain, alarm, and anxiety against humanity's comprehensive nature, its universal potentials, infinite needs, and endless desires, it shows the tree of hell within unbelief and misguidance. It puts those who follow it into a sort of hell while still in his word. So there is no need to die. Before dying, before the death, they are in the hellfire. Morally, they are. It shows that all science and human progress outside of religion and faith is worth nothing, just like the heroism of Rustam and Hercules, and that all it does is inject drunkenness and dissipation to temporarily deaden the senses to not feel those grievous fears. So they are trying to kill the senses actually, not to feel those grievous fears. Thus, while belief and unbelief yield fruits like paradise and hell in the hereafter, in this world too, belief provides a spiritual paradise and transforms death into a release from duty, and unbelief turns this world into a spiritual hell and destroys humanity's true happiness and makes death an eternal execution. The Risale-i Nur, relying on definite insight and direct cognition and vision, has demonstrated this truth with hundreds of proofs. So we refer you to those and cut short the discussion here. If you wish to see the truth that lies in this comparison, raise your head and look at the universe. Look and see how many vehicles there are, like the railway train, balloons, cars, airplanes, ships of the land and the sea, globes of the stars, the heavenly bodies, the chains of events and successive occurrences that eternal power creates, with order, regularity, wisdom, purpose on land and sea and in space. So this train example is just a little example actually. We can assume larger masses like the meteors just passing by the earth, that's a threat to our life, right? We might be frightened of that also. We might be frightened of this little virus, COVID-19, or we might be frightened of sun and its explosions, or another meteor just coming by our planet, right? So to remove this fear, what do we need? We need belief, right? We will just read one more paragraph and finalize here. Anyone with intelligence and sight can see most of these chains of events in the manifest world and the physical universe and will confirm their existence. So too, they will be able to confirm that there are even more wonderful successive events created by pre-eternal power in the spirit and incorporeal worlds. We will finalize at this point. Hope to see you in the next weeks. Subhaneke la ilme lena illa ma allamtena inneke entel alimul hakim ve ahiru davahum enilhamdülillahi rabbil alamin. El Fatiha.